I have disability that's supposed to be coming in. It's not going to be here until May 1st. I'm supposed to have housing. I got a call from housing. They're finally going to put me in, but not until I have money, which means that I might not be able to get housing. Somebody else might get it, and then I will have to wait 6 months to a year before another unit opens up, unless a bunch of people die of COVID-19 or whatever name you guys want to give it at this point in time. By the way, the United States has a patent on it, so it did originate here. You're not going to get it from a bat. That might seem in the realm of conspiracy theory, but look it up. It actually is a patent held by the United States. Um, how can you patent a natural disease? That's a good question. But that's not what this video is about. We're going to leave the realm of tinfoil hats because this is about some real issues. I have needed housing since before Natalie died. I needed to be able to come back up here and take care of it. But at the time, with the information that I had and the situation as it was happening, I just basically got screwed. And I got victimized and I got made a target. And all of the crimes that were committed against me, somehow magically, no matter what jurisdiction I'm in, it's out of their jurisdiction. I was gang stalked from the time that I left Virginia until now. And then people want to use my meltdowns as an excuse why I'm a terrible person, or the way that I react when they force drugs into me, or the way that I react when I am being physically assaulted. All is their excuses for the things that they've done to me. All is their excuses for not looking at evidence and not listening to any witnesses. I have been harmed by law enforcement from one side of the United States to the other. Now, you guys can see how I am treated differently when I have the cameras on and it's recording live. You also notice that those officers can't pull their heads out of their ass well enough to tell the same story. What one officer says is okay, another officer says is not. Police refusing to investigate any of the crimes against me. And their assaults repeatedly against me, as well as them assisting the Bollingers in preventing me from having a court date, preventing me from defending myself. They knew I was autistic. They knew exactly how to situation. Now, this Kara Johnson Miles lady, I do still have text messages between myself and Shannon Alvarado, but see, Shannon Alvarado's an idiot. She's not a very intelligent person. I needed help from somebody who understands autism, not somebody who exploits it. Now, that's not to say that Shannon intentionally exploits it, but she does. A lot of people, well, it's because you're autistic. It's because you're autistic. No, it's because of your assumptions of autism. See, Shannon Alvarado, while I was at her house, I noticed that her daughter was not a problem. I mean, there are things that, yes, they're frustrating for Shannon. You know, when your daughter still shits herself at 18 years of age, yes, I understand how that can get frustrating. When you can't sit down because your daughter is going to pull your hair, I can see how that would get frustrating. But at the same time, her daughter's issues come from Shannon at night, mostly at night when Shannon has been drinking and is wanting someone to scream at. And I'm glad that Rick was there because then she had someone to scream at. Now, there's other stuff that needs to be requisitioned, and I do need a lawyer in order to requisition that stuff, like the information between Christine Buhit and myself on the YouTube or on the Facebook that she allowed me to use. And she wanted me to make sure that I let people know that I was using her Facebook, and I did. I made sure that I let people know. And then when I needed to take the time while I was in Hardin, Montana, I needed to take the time to get evidence off of it before she shut it down. But she was busy coming down off of drugs and she was throwing a fucking tantrum. There's a difference between having a meltdown and throwing a fucking tantrum. You guys need to learn the difference. Now, it's fine and dandy getting the help when it's already too late for it to do you any good. And that's the thing that I explained to all of these people, but they fucked me intentionally. See, they wanted to make excuses, and I can't, and I can't, and I can't. And then they promised that they would, and then I'd show up. I'd invest what little I had to show up. And then they didn't keep their word. And then they want me to do things I don't have the ability to do because they won't stop triggering me and won't listen to the fact that they're triggering me. The things that trigger Shannon's daughter trigger me too. But I have more control than her daughter. When Shannon is busy screaming, her daughter comes downstairs to hit her. That is specifically why her daughter hits her. Shannon won't stop fucking screaming when she's drunk. Now, I'm not allowed to say that or I'm a bad person. I'm not allowed to say that or Shannon's not going to help. But the fact is, she didn't help. Without her coming forward like she promised that she would, it wasn't help. Matter of fact, what she did was the opposite of help because while I was at her place, she had special rules that prevented me from being able to do the things that I needed to do during the day, like make the phone calls that I needed to make. The same thing that was happening over at Candace Bondurant's. At Candace Bondurant's, it was for a different reason. It's because my phone wouldn't work at her place. And, of course, Candace Bondurant had her phone with her when she was at work in case something happened with her kids. So when I told her that, hey, I already turned it over to Shelly, that's one of Natalie's stepmothers. I said, hey, I already turned it over to Shelly. That's when Candace was insistent that I take it. I'm like, I have already turned over this stuff to Miss Shelley. But she left her phone for me and I was able to use it. But she wanted to, when she was busted lying, either she lied or the officer lied. In either case, it doesn't matter. It needs to come out in court. And if Candace is the one that lied, yes, I am going to call for prison time for her. Taking advantage of somebody in that way is immoral and wrong. The fact is, the police took complete advantage of my disabilities, and none of these people who said that they would help me ever actually did. They didn't do anything useful. The reason that they didn't do anything useful is because they didn't ever come forward about it. They didn't come forward to the courts about it. And the courts and police claimed that none of us ever tried. Now, in the recordings that I had to make them public. I had to. I don't have the ability to sit down in a quiet environment and work on this it's going to take months to go through everything. Months to go through it. I need peace and quiet in order to do that. That's what I need. Now, instead, I've got to deal with people who are pieces of shit to me, want to judge me, but don't want to be judged back. That's a very Christian thing. I notice that Christians, they'll turn a blind eye to all of the evils that Christians do to each other and to others and say, oh, they're not real Christians. But then they say all Muslims are like this, all Muslims are like that. No Muslim has ever harmed me in the history of my existence. I can't think of a single Muslim who has ever harmed me. Not one. So we've been making phone calls all day. I finally got my card to get my disability back, but they're not going to give it to me until the 1st of next month. I've got court on the 16th of this month. I need money to live on for the rest of the month. I need to be able to get into housing, but that's not going to happen because I don't have any money coming in. Meanwhile, my autism advocate lady is doing her best. She really is. She also has a lot of the same issues that I do. Like, I literally want my life to be over. I need to be able to get these honest days in court. Honest days in court. I should never have had to break the law. Ever. Now, these people who stabbed me in the back outright lied to me repeatedly and then threw me away when I didn't have any resources left. Those people made empty promises. They promised to help me, and I had to depend on them because I could not depend on the police. Because I was made a target, the police made me a target. The Bollingers made me a target. These Natalie Bollinger groups made me a target. I actually kicked a lot of people out of the group that Katie Cahill gave me. Why did I do that? Well, I did that so they can't destroy their own comments. I also recorded a lot of people because those people have evidence that shows that the cops committed crimes. When I said I needed someone to go in with me, I meant it. But it needs to be someone who is not a coward. If Laura Nelson had stepped up and told the truth while we were in there just last week, it would have made a lot of difference. But she was afraid of being recorded. She's always afraid of being recorded. And she knows when I'm recording. That's why she doesn't speak when I'm recording. She also knows that what she did was wrong. Now, I have evidence of that in phones that were stolen. Fuck the police. Police from one end of this country to the other have treated me like shit because of what it says on my arrest record. I should never have had to break the fucking law. But when you're disabled, shut the fuck up, train. People can do whatever they want to you, and you can't defend yourself against it. All they have to do is say you're mentally ill, and you're the one who's harmed. Hospitals will harm you because police said that you're mentally ill. Hospitals will not listen to you. Doctors will not listen to you. I spent out of all of this, every single time that I was taken to a hospital, I spent less than 20 minutes overall, out of all of it, spent less than 20 minutes with each doctor. Less than 20 minutes. Most of those doctors, like the one in Clearview, less than 5 minutes the entire time I was there. None of the people who were there were actually trained to know what the fuck they're talking about. And these are the people that I have to deal with. Some of them held personal vendettas against me for what happened to Natalie. What they did to me wasn't just immoral, it was completely fucking wrong. But because the police said, bitch, fuck the police.